Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Just Get It There. In case you noticed, I am home. I'm doing this video because I did a couple posts on Friday. Today's May 7th. Tuesday, I said I'd be putting a video out about what happened or what's going on. Well, let's just put it a little bit. Stupid things happened. As I posted about an oil leak on my truck, and I was at the shop waiting for the truck to get looked at to figure out what the hell was, if there was an actual oil leak, which turned out to be no oil leak. After I made my delivery and all that, I'm not too sure what the hell happened, but I couldn't find an oil leak, and I sent several messages about that. I talked to their shop, and I talked to the breakdown staff that they have, explained to them I couldn't find an oil leak, couldn't see an oil where the oil was coming from or anything, but there was a huge trail of it. I did a picture. I believe I did a picture of it and put it out there. But anyways, on that was Thursday. I had the oil. Friday, everything was going good. Or I went to go pick up a load after that, and they played. Couldn't find nothing, so I ended up the load that got. They kept saying it was being rescheduled for Kellogg's. And then they turn around, and I'm like, all right. I went back to the terminal. I went to Columbus, the Heartland's terminal. And they had me deadhead all the way to. From there, they sent a message asking me to please head back to Trenton. I'm like, all right, I'll go back to Trenton. And my dispatcher was looking for stuff for me for a load and told me there's nothing as of yet. They're still looking. And I get a message on my call com saying, you are being hit with we're writing you up. This is a written warning about making false reports about the oil leak and putting my truck in the shop for a false reason. And I'm like, I would never put my truck in the shop for false reasoning, ever. But whatever, if you want to argue the fact, go right on ahead. So, because I sent all the pictures over to the shop, and this came about on Friday. I got this message, and I'm on the phone trying to figure out. Nobody can tell me what is going on. Nobody knew anything. Then later that day, I got a message to call Dan Millis. He's the head of safety or whatever he does for Millis. I'm not 100% sure because Millis doesn't own Millis Transfer anymore. Millis is owned by Heartland. But I had to give him a call. Excuse me. So I had to call him up. And we were talking about it, and next thing I know, you got a choice. We can either terminate you or we can fire you because of the fact that they want you to, because you're in the shop way too much, you're doing this, you're doing that. My truck's at the shop. He goes, well, when your truck comes out of the shop, you should be running. I'm like, my truck just got out of the shop. Last time my truck got out of the shop, he goes, you don't take freight 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, I just got back in my truck, dude. I wasn't ready to run. I got to reset my truck back up, put my truck back together because I was in a hotel for the past couple of days when that happened. I'm sorry, but I'm not running without having stuff in my truck called food. Truck stops are too damn expensive for me to constantly go out there and buy food. I'm sorry, but I got a wife, kids at home that need money for food and you know, what I was making there at 60 some cents a mile for millis, for me to run at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon with nothing on my truck to buy, I'd have to buy food at a truck stop, possibly if I got to a truck stop, or if I ended up at a rest area, then I'm eating out of a vending machine. And he made the comment about parking and all that. Oh, there's plenty of parking. I'm like, when's the last time you've been on the road? But I didn't ask him any of those questions because I know the answer. I have either haven't been or it's been a long time. Take your pick. For those of you that want to go to Millis, I'm not going to tell you that you can't or you shouldn't go to Millis. I'm with that decision totally up to you and what you want to do. If you want to go to Millis and work for Millis, go for it. But just be careful about putting your truck in a shop for whatever reason. You better hope to God that there's something wrong with it, because they don't, they'll write you up and possibly terminate you and tell you that you put your truck in the shop for false pretenses. Every time my truck's been in the shop, there's been a reason for it. And the last time I had my truck in the shop, their shop techs, instead of trying to figure out the problem with my truck, blamed it on my two coolers that I had in my truck. The only thing I have plugged in my truck was two coolers. That I'm talking my stuff, my two coolers and a phone charger and my dash cam. That's it. That's not enough to draw the battery on a truck. Not by a long shot. Considering when they first did this, when I first had this issue with the truck, it was in the dead of winter, right around right around New Year's slash right around the holidays it happened, where I had to try to get a hold of somebody to jump start my truck. My truck the batteries were dead. The truck wouldn't kick over. It did low battery disconnect and it killed the batteries. I didn't run the truck. I didn't want to run the truck, but it was cold enough where I could have ran the truck and idled the truck all night, but I chose not to. And when you try calling Millis anytime on the weekends, this is the shop now. You try calling the shop on the weekends or after 5 o'clock Central Time, you will not get nobody. Their shops are closed on the weekends, and their shops close at 5 o'clock. They open at 7:30 and close at 5. Monday through Friday, no weekends, no nothing. If your truck breaks down, you gotta set a macro 40, which is on a call com. Hopefully somebody sees it. They don't see it. You try to set a free form, and hopefully somebody in dispatch, this is after hours, is reading and seeing these messages coming in. Not that they're tied up with another driver. You try calling Millis, you may or may not get a hold of your dispatcher. There's times where you may or may not. They don't want, if you're driving, they don't want you to call. They consider it distracted driving, which is kind of right, but kind of not at the same time. Because if you're driving, you need to get a hold of somebody. If it's easier to try to call somebody than it is to sit there and to pull over or try to find a spot to send that message, to respond back to their messaging. But they don't understand that concept. But anyways, everything that I sent, when I sent my dispatcher the load about what's going on, I said no load, truck leaking oil with a bunch of question marks. I wish I could have kept that message and showed it to you. But I sent that message and I sent my macro 40 in with truck leaking oil with a bunch of question marks. And I was on the phone with them with a bunch, and I was telling them, I sent pictures, the whole 9 yards to them about the truck leaking oil. But at the same token, I'm not sure what company I'm going to next or where I'm going, what moves I'm going to do next. But so I wanted to give you the heads up to be very careful if you're going to millis. Like I said, I've had no issues with them, but when it comes to their actual pay period is on a Friday, it I didn't get paid till Tuesdays with them because I had direct deposit. They claimed they couldn't do direct deposit on Fridays. It had to wait till Tuesday. For those of you that, because a lot of drivers will get their pay on their fuel card. Kind of got to wonder about that. But for the most part, there are a few people I had no issues with, but Millis. The shop I dealt with in Trenton, he couldn't believe why they made me resign. I'm sorry, but having a vehicle checked out that could have been a catastrophic failure. But they're not worried about the equipment. They're more worried about the freight that they have to get rid of or remove because they're behind on hauling freight. Heartland's been behind hauling freight, but I've seen Heartland hauling CFI trailers, CFI trucks, or trailers. Right now, Heartland's taking over CFI, and they're taking all their trucks and they're taking their tractors and turning them into Heartland trucks. And whatever is left over, they're giving to Millis. So, gotta wonder what the hell's going on in this world. There are companies that are folding, going under. I'm wondering if Heartland's one of them because I was told Heartland does all the ordering for all the companies, and they're not ordering any. They haven't ordered any trucks from what I've been told. They're just taking them from CFI because supposedly nobody's going to CFI. In Heartland, on the other hand, when I seen their school, or not Heartland school, but Mills' school, I wouldn't go to their school now that I've seen it firsthand. Compared to the school that I went to, which was 18 weeks, 602 hours mandatory. You could not miss a day, Monday through Friday. You had to be there Monday through Friday to get your seat to get qualified because they were a certified school, and they had the school set up where you were in the yard and you worked in the yard and you did your they had, there's a section set up where you were moving a truck forward, backward to a straight line, seaside, blind side, offsets. They had you doing it all, even parallel parks, drop and hook, your pre-trip, and then they had separate trucks that they took you by yourself with with a instructor on a road ride for about an hour or so. So you had one on one with an instructor. Millis, on the other hand, does not have one on one with the instructor. Millis has everybody in the truck with you, or because it's got more than one seat, it's got more than the driver's seat and the passenger seat. There's seats in the back of that truck, so they got everybody to go with you. I don't think that's a proper way of teaching or instructing, and not to mention Cartersville Terminal. He is authorized to give out your CDL no matter what state you're living in. I think there's like one or two maybe that they can't do it in, but I'm sorry. I'd be kind of wondering how many of these drivers that they're passing is actually trainable or actually taughtable. And I've met some drivers that were with their trainer, and I met drivers that weren't with a trainer between Millis, CFI, and Heartland. And I will tell you this, I don't know where they're teaching them or how they're teaching them or how actually, I don't know the trainer that well enough to sit there and say this or not, but it leaves me questioning what they're actually teaching and how they're teaching. Because I had students that were supposedly that just came off a trainer's truck and they were supposedly showed nothing, but I don't know how true that is. I don't know the trainer because I never dealt with them. They, of course, I've dealt with one. I talked to one trainer and one student, and of course you could hear the student said this, then the trainer said, "Oh, I never did." I'm like, I'm looking at him, listening to him, and I'm like, something that you probably didn't make sure that they were taught. But I'm sorry, but the one girl said she didn't do a pre-trip until she got ready for her road test. And I find that could work both ways, whether it was the student that didn't do it or the trainer never taught it. That varies. But yeah, it would be in your best interest to do a little bit more research on millis. I thought I did enough. I actually enjoyed working there for the time I was there, but dealing with a lot of the upper management and that they're kind of reminding me of Crete and the way they do things. You know, they don't give you the dispatch a day ahead. Every time you're ready for dispatch, you have to hit the macro for ready for dispatch. They don't send you nothing like they should. They don't give you the load information a day or so before. It's usually the day of. And when you're going to pick up or you're going to drop your load off, sometimes you may get lucky. They'll give you that load information beforehand, but a lot of times it's right as you're dropping off. And we pick up at a lot of the same places. So that information I had at the time, they didn't give me that information always all the time. Always had to beg and plead to get that information. But on that note, for now, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I'm going to figure out a couple things, but for right now, I would do a little bit more research and look into other carriers. Not sure what carrier I'm going to go with, because, like I said, I've seen the freight market, I've seen all that. I'm looking to see who's got the freight, who doesn't, and who will actually work with, who I can work with and who I can't work with, because I don't want to end up with another company like Crete. I won't say Schaefer or Hunk. I don't know them at all. But from when I dealt with Crete, not worth it. The equipment, not worth it. But I will discuss that at another time about equipment, why these carriers are having such a hard time with this equipment, what's causing their problems. Because that's what a lot of people are facing and why they're going bye-bye and falling by the wayside is because of their equipment. But I'll discuss that on another video. But like I said, please like, share, subscribe. Let's get the views up there. The views need to get better, and we need to subscribe. Just click the subscribe button. Get it over with. Ring the bell for notifications. Let's just get it up there. Let's change the rigmarole. There's too much of you that are not subscribed. A lot of you are coming back, which I appreciate. But we need to get the views up. We need to get the subscribers up. Let's just click the button. Get it over with. Take the subscribe button and just hit the subscribe and toss it away. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to comment on the videos, and I will get back to you as soon as I get the comment. I try to So as I notice it, I try to answer it as quickly as I can. Thank you for now, and we'll talk later. Bye for now.